Hello, my peeps. This is Jonathan at the piano lesson. That's the new phrase I learned. I picked up watching videos on YouTube. My peeps. It's kind of a fun little phrase. I guess it means my people. Maybe. Is that what Moses said when he came down from Mount Sinai? My peeps. Anywho, back once again with another video. Everyone says that. Back once again with another video. But this video really is going to be a stupendous video. And I kid you not. And it could be the most important video you've ever seen in your life about jazz piano. And it is the result of decades of research in the trenches teaching piano. But it's true, it is. And I'm going to talk about the iconic song Giant Steps by John Coltrane. Couple little things before we do that. One is every time I set up my cameras on OBS, I always have to reconfigure them so that I turn the autofocus off. So if anyone out there knows why that happens, let me know. Okay, back to Giant Steps. So before we do Giant Steps, let's just talk about a little bit generally. You know, when you learn a tune, not you personally, but in the general sense, when we learn a tune, ultimately we want to understand a piece of music in a in-depth kind of holographic way. Think of a song more like a structure, like a building that you can walk in, right? And you could take a tour of, but there are plans, there are like architectural plans, and the architect has to conceive of the building as one whole that works together, okay? And everything has to reconcile with everything else. And that's really what a good song is like. However, when we experience music, we experience it in a linear way over time. We don't really experience it in a holistic way, right? That kind of comes after the 20 minutes or 2 hours we listen to the song, or 20 years, as the case may be. So even though we as students learn music chord by chord and note by note and scale by scale, right? Great composers really think of the entire composition as like one note, okay? Just like one whole idea. And it always brings to mind the program I saw once, I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere, of a fellow who memorized pi, not the kind you eat, but the number, 3.14. All I know is 3.1415927 as far as I can go, but he memorized it. I think it took him like 2 days to recite all the digits that he knew. Now, how did he memorize this? Well, he didn't memorize it. That was his whole point. He actually drew a picture of it. To him, it was like something. It was a thing, and so he wasn't really remembering numbers. They came out as numbers, but it wasn't like a rote memory exercise. So I'm going to share with you today the way I think of the song Giant Steps after years of thinking about it. And in so doing, hopefully you should take this approach to other pieces of music, but also it should help you to understand the difference between what makes a great artist and someone who's just kind of pecking around the edges, right? Very often when we hear jazz solos, I think a fair criticism, not just from non-jazz fans, but also from people listening to jazz, is that a lot of the music can sound very intellectual or cold, or and that's not because the people are necessarily overly intellectual. I know that from firsthand experience, but the attempt to improvise and play the song is almost like a stone skipping on the water, then it sort of sinks. They're not looking at the piece again, from a three-dimensional viewpoint. They're just looking at it very superficially. So let's get rid of generalities, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. First of all, the tune, just the basic tune. Okay. Right, so that's the basic tune. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A minor, D7, G major 7, B flat 7, E flat major 7, F sharp 7, C major 7, F minor, 2, 5, 1 in E flat, 2, 5, 1 in G, 2, 5, 1 in B, F sharp minor, C sharp minor, F sharp minor, C sharp minor 7, F sharp 7, B major 7, F minor, B flat, E flat. So that's the basic tune, and I'll write out the chords. So B major 7, B major 7, and 2 counts each. B major 7, D7, G major 7, B flat 7, and then E flat major 7. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Interesting. 3 bars for a phrase. Then A minor 7, D7, 2 counts each. Da, do. G major 7, B flat 7. And of course you can find these on the internet, right? I'm just, as you can guess, I'm not a big graphics guy. 7, E flat, major 7, F sharp 7, B major 7. Right? Let's just hit 4 counts. Right. So that's 1. So that's a 4-measure phrase right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then yeah, that's right. F minor 7, F minor 7, B flat 7, 2 counts each, E flat major 7, 4 counts, A minor 7, D7, G major 7, 4 counts, C sharp minor 7, F sharp 7, 2 counts each, B major 7, and then again F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat major 7, 4 counts, and then you can know that C sharp minor 7, F sharp 7, another 2 counts. That's kind of hard to see, but this will be easier. That'll be maybe a little bit easier. So, ba ba da dee dee, ba da dee dee dee, ba da da dee 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 dee, ba back to the top. So we said we got a 3-bar phrase here. Dee da dee da da, 3 bars. Ba dee 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 da dee dee. That's 4 bars. So we got 3 bars there. We got 4 bars here. Then dee 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 2 2 da dee 2 5. Okay, that's another 4 bars. Okay. Ba dee dee. Right, another 2 D D D. And very interesting, look what happens at the end. We kind of make up for that lost bar. Isn't that, it's just structurally, isn't that interesting? So we got 3 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars. 2 and 2 is 4. And then so 4, 8, 12, 16, but it's displaced. This tune is kind of displaced. Think of oh Lord, you have tunes that start on complete and incomplete measures. That we know. So if there's 4 counts in a measure in this song, it starts on count 1, but the odd thing of it is, it really starts on the second bar of the 4-measure phrase, as I hear it, because the song should start. That's how the song should start, really. So there's this displacement. I'll call it rhythmic displacement, but it's more structural. Really, it's not just a matter of a beat or half a beat. It's a matter of like an entire bar, which what makes this whole song sound odd and kind of tough to play. But da dee 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 da da dee 3 4. That's a phrase, and that's a 3-bar phrase. Then 4-bar phrase, then a 4-bar phrase, then a 4-bar phrase, plus 1, a 5-bar phrase. Not really. It sounds like a 5-bar phrase, but that's what, again, you have to think about these things and consider them when you're playing, because this last phrase here isn't really 5 bars. It isn't 2 plus 2 plus 1. It isn't 5 bars. Or maybe it is. I mean, I don't know. Not really, though. Okay, so the structural thing already is a bit strange. Okay, and again, apologies for the rough drawing, but what can I say? So now when we're talking about Coltrane changes, Changes, you could spell right. We're talking about up a minor third and then down a fifth, down a perfect fifth. Okay, that's what we're talking about. So B, D, G. Now what is that? B, D, G, that's a triad, isn't it? Right? Up a minor third, down a fifth. Now, you have a 2-5-1, up a fourth, down a fifth, up a minor third, down a fifth, up a minor third, down a fifth. Mostly up a minor third, down a fifth. I would get rid of the 2 chords. I would get rid of the 2 chord in the 2-5-1s. So A minor 7, D7, G major 7. I would just go D7, G major 7. All right. I have a reason for that, but you basically have B, D, G. That's a G major chord, right? Let's write out a staff here. Do you guys mind when I have the board like this, kind of at an odd angle, or is it better to do it this way? I don't know. Nobody's watching anyway. Okay. Oh wait, why am I doing that? So you got B, D, G, okay? Right, that's G major. And then and then G, B flat, E flat. That's E flat major, and the spellings are going to get a little odd. Now, and then up a fourth, down a fifth. I'm just going to consider D, G, and then B flat. And then we have, I'll change the spelling here. Instead of E flat, I'm going to change that to D sharp, F sharp, and B. Right. That's B major. Okay, remember it's all in bass clef. And then we have F, up a fourth, down a fifth, but it's really B flat, E flat, D, up. Right. So these are the main things that we're looking at, this sound, and they're overlapping. You have G, B flat or E flat, and then B major. That'd be an interesting exercise. Right, kind of interesting sound. To me, that is the very essence of what a jazz sound is. So it's jazz to me is major, but if you go up a minor third, that's minor. This both together, major and minor together in the crack there, that's the blues sound. The ambiguity between major and minor, that's really at the essence of what makes jazz jazz to me. There's lots of different definitions of jazz, but it's that kind of indefinable sound. So you have a certain amount of overlap. You know, you have these are common tones, the G's, right? And the I should have written E flat. G, B, D, E flat, G, B flat, and B, D sharp, and F sharp, right? We have some overlap. E flat is the same note as D sharp, enharmonic spelling on the keyboard anyway. So that's a common tone. B, we have another B up here. Okay, that's a common tone. A lot of common tones that these chords, that these triads share. So it's minor, major, minor, major, minor, major, or you could go the opposite: major, minor, major, minor, major, minor. That's the pattern, and the glue that glues them together, E flat, G, B, that is a augmented chord. E flat, E flat, G, and B natural, not flat, but natural. That is an E flat augmented chord. It's really, that's the sound of the tune, kind of. It's this augmented sound, and an augmented sound, when you create inversions of it, it remains augmented. Is it the right? Yeah. And then it doesn't really matter. I just do inversions of it: E flat, G, B, G, B, E flat, which is really D sharp for spelling, B, D sharp, F double sharp, which is G, or C flat, E flat, G, but all augmented triads. And the scale that goes with that, whole tone. There's so many textures and layers in the song. Now, here's the fun part I like. By the way, so why am I doing all this stuff? I mean, I started out by teaching you the basic chords and the basic root movement. But what I'm trying to do is I use the word holistically, right? I'm trying to take all these bits and pieces and shake them up in a jar and kind of make some sense out of them. and create one holistic idea, one contiguous idea. So I'm not trying to manage all these notes and all these scales and all these chords. That's not the way to play music, really. You have to think of it as one idea, and it almost like DNA that you can kind of unwrap. So I'm going to make a scale out of this. Now, before I make the scale, I want to find out what is the tonic. What key are we in? Well, we start with a B chord. I mean, so are we in the key of B? Maybe. You could think of it that way. But you could think of ending on B. But maybe since B, maybe it's maybe we're in the key of E flat. I really think of it more in the key of E flat, honestly. Now, if we're in the key of E flat, what's the second most important chord? B flat, the dominant, right? And there's plenty of opportunities to play B flat 7 in the song. By the way, the one note that is not in this song, and I'll talk about that later, is E natural. So you could think about it as if I did a pedal tone on F sharp, the 5 chord of B. So you could think of it as F sharp. I like to think of it as B flat also, really. Hear that? How you have some tension and then kind of resolution. I kind of like it as on B flat. Now, when you're preparing a tune, any kind of tune, classical or otherwise, you have to think of an arc. You have to think of, what's the high point of the tune, what's the low point, what's the loudest, what's the softest. Again, architecturally, all right, you really need to have that beforehand before you do anything. And the glue that keeps it together, the thing that creates the musical phrase are the dynamics, more so than not. So what would be the loudest point? Well, typically the loudest point is going to be a dominant chord. And it's going to be the 5 chord. Now, we determined there's 2 dominant chords, F sharp 7, that's 5 of B, and B flat 7, that's 5 of E flat. I kind of like to play the first note short and soft. Here how I landed on the B flat 7. B, D, G, B flat, and then the energy from that brings me to the E flat, and then that takes me to the 2, 5. That's kind of incidental. Another B flat. Notice we skipped the 2 chord there, right from B flat to E flat. That 5 chord there, the F sharp 7, that's maybe louder than the other B flat. That's the B flat. Less. Hear how I quiet it down? So, in terms of thinking of these the dynamic shape of the song, you can make a good case for B flat as the high point, or F sharp, or both, depending on what your argument is. All right, you might want to make both of those arguments. Let's go back to our our idea, we have 3 chords: E flat, major and minor, G major and minor, and B major and minor. And depending on what tonic I want, I can create a scale of some kind. The first, if I take a grouping of 4 notes, E flat, E flat, F sharp. I'm just going to call it F sharp, just so it looks like a scale. G, and then B flat. Okay, that grouping of notes, right, that's ostensibly E flat major and E flat minor. It's kind of both in there. Likewise, G major and minor, G, A sharp, I'm going to call it A sharp, B flat, and D, right? That's this. That's G major and G minor. And then the B major and minor, we'll call it, well, you know, spelling this is a little challenging, actually. I'll just spell it like this: B, D, E flat, and then F sharp. Yep. I'm just gonna spell it like that, just because I want that fifth there. So the 1 sound, 2 sounds, 3 are going down. To me, that's kind of the essence of the tune. Now, if I look in between there, right now I'm really outlining, I'm making that into a diminished chord. Boy, we're going to run out of time. Man, I'm not going to have enough time for this. I'll do the second half next week. But that's really, we're forming an augmented chord. We haven't looked at the spaces in between. For instance, this, that's a harmonic tetrachord. Going back to our tetrachords again. And if I put B flat in the bass, sorry. Starting on the minor thirds. Now, that's a scale that I made up just for this song, starting on framed within B flat. I got to run, so I'm running out of time, but I'll see you guys next week. I hope this wasn't too confusing, but I can't help it. All right, see you next time.